Unfortunately, we didn't see a significant number of women elected in the Sligo, Leitrim or Donegal constituencies. As you said, only one woman, Marion Harkin, being the single and incumbent female candidate who was elected. But I suppose there's a number of different factors at play, within different constituencies. And I suppose the first point to make is that this year's general election did see a record number of women going before the electorate, and that was heartening to see. We saw 246 women throughout the country putting their names on ballot papers, and that was a 52% increase on the numbers in the last general election in 2020. So if we look at Donegal, for example, in the general election in 2020, there was only one female candidate out of 13, so that was only 8%. So that has risen significantly this time round. There was 5 female candidates out of 20, so that was up to 25%. And similarly in Sligo Leitrim, 39% of the candidates in the 2024 general election were women, and that was an increase from 32% back in 2020. So there are more women putting their names on ballot papers, seeing politics as a viable career option, and that's heartening. And this is the first general election where that 40% quota rule applied. But to break it down then and look at the constituency, we'll say, take Donegal, for example, there's obviously local factors and local issues at play and political party issues at play as well. We saw, obviously, incumbents Pearse Doherty and Padraig McLaughlin being re-elected, and Charlie McGonigal holding on, a cabinet minister. Of course, the re-emergence of Pat the Cope Gallagher onto the political scene did, result in a different scenario then again, because obviously he was elected, and then the Micah issue being a major local issue. You saw the 100% redress party candidate Charles Ward taking a seat. But I would have to say, now we're not privy obviously to what happens within political parties, and this is an observer or an outside view, but you would have to question the decision of Fianna Fáil to run 3 candidates in the Donegal constituency, with Claudia Kennedy only being added to the ticket 4 weeks out. You'd have to question, was that a wise decision to run the 3 candidates? There's no point having this 40% quota rule unless we see an honest and correct application of the quota rule. We don't want to see situations where women are added to tickets as mere token candidates or sweepers for the preferred male candidate. And adding women to tickets too late in the day doesn't give them any real chance to work on their profile or campaign. So I think we need to see parties rowing in behind their female candidates if they want to see them having a real chance of getting elected. And I would point to the example in Mayo with Ciara Keogh, candidate who was mentored and helped significantly by outgoing TD Michael Ring. He was with her morning, noon and night canvassing and campaigning, and I would argue that her success was largely due to the party and to Michael Ring rowing in behind her. So I think if we had seen something similar in Donegal, with perhaps if you took the example of a veteran politician like Pat the Cope, maybe not having run for election, but having rode in behind someone like Claudia Kennedy or a female candidate, would we be looking at a different picture today?
Do you feel it's getting easier for female candidates to put their name forward?
Well, I think there's more opportunities now, and there's more supports in place as well for female candidates. There's more groups like ourselves, like See Her Elected. We're specifically funded for to train and help resource women to run for local elections. But then a lot of those women that get elected to the local level go on to seek Dáil election. So I think there's more supports and more money being put in place and more training to groups like us. And we provide, I suppose, a real pathway for women in rural Ireland to seek entry into the political arena, where there might not have been that pathway before. But I think there's lots of different, politics has to become more family friendly. There's lots of different things that can improve it for male and female candidates. But I think the fact that we are seeing more women going forward for election, putting their names on ballot papers, that has to be a positive. But to go back to that point, that they have to be seen, not to be token candidates and to be added to to where they have a real chance of taking a seat. And I would commend all the women in Sligo, Leitrim and Donegal who put their names in ballot papers. I mean, we look at Nicky Bradley, Fine Gael candidate in Donegal. She was appointed a senator only in July of this year. And I suppose, look, at being a government associated candidate, was always going to be a difficulty in a constituency like Donegal, where the Mica issue was so relevant. But we look at the likes of Nuala Carr there for the Green Party, and other candidates in Sligo Leitrim. We saw a big group of female candidates putting their names in ballot papers. Nessa Cosgrove for Labour, Bláthnaid Gallagher for Green Party, Mary Castley, of course, well-known independent. So there's lots of really great women put their names in the ballot papers. But again, to go to the Sligo Leitrim constituency, Marian Harkin, of course, early in the day we thought she was struggling to hold on to her seat, and I suppose Mary Castley's votes would have been a factor in that. I've taken some votes from Marian Harkin, but also I'd have to question in that constituency as well the decision by Fianna Fáil to run three candidates. Eamon Scanlon was obviously successfully elected, but Paddy O'Rourke, his transfers obviously helped Eamon Scanlon get elected, but Dan McSherry had a very good first preference votes. But again, was it wise to run three Fianna Fáil candidates there? Eden McSherry might have been in with a much better chance of getting elected if there weren't three candidates. So, there's a lot of different variants and a lot of different factors at play that we have to examine.